Hey, Jim Remley here with eRealEstateCoach.com. Just a couple of quick scripts for you as you're in the marketplace. We're hearing a lot of people come to us and say, hey Jim, we're having some struggles with sellers and buyers. They're not really adapting to this changing market very well. So I'm just going to give you a couple of scripts that might help you in the field. One of them is the pull by date script. And the pull by date script is really designed to help you have this conversation with sellers when they say to you, we're not in a rush to sell, or we have lots of time, there's no time pressure. So how do you respond to that? Well, you certainly want to have some good language. So here's some language I've taken from some top producers, and here's what they say. They say, actually, hey, you know what, that's a huge relief. Sellers that are under time pressure can leave money on the table, and we don't want to do that. So that's great news, actually. But there's something else to consider. We don't want to go stale on the market. I call it the pull by date. You ever go into a supermarket and see the pull by date on products? I'm sure you have, I have. And believe it or not, real estate is exactly the same way. Listings that are fresh tend to get the highest prices, and homes that have been on the market tend to get the lowest prices, or they might never sell at all. I'm sure you've seen a few listings in the market that have had their sign on the in the front lawn forever. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the 5 transactions that have closed most recently that are what I call your peer group, and see what's happened with them. Were they on the market a long time? What happened? How did they get their price, and so forth. So it just as a good conversation starter to get them thinking that being on the market longer may not solve their issue, right? How about buyers that are on the fence? I call them fence sitters. They're just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. How do you get them off the fence? So here's a great script, and that is this. When I talk to buyers, the number one issue that I hear from a buyer is affordability, right? In real estate, we actually measure that 2 different ways. A lot of people don't realize this. We measure it by looking at the home price and then interest rates. When you combine those 2 things, that's how we get what we call home price affordability, or home affordability overall. Now, we don't have a crystal ball, but the projections from most economists is that home prices are going to rise, again, 4 to 5% in 2019. But actually, that's not the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is that interest rates are also on track to rise at least 0.5%, maybe as much as 1%. And over 30 years, that can add up to a huge number. So it's why a lot of my friends right now are making the choice to buy now so they can lock in the lower interest rates and still save 4 or 5% on the purchase price. So let's take a look at what's out there. Remember, you're not buying the market, you're buying a specific home. I'm going to find you a great deal. And the last one, this is one you're going to hear all the time, is I'm waiting for 2008 again. I'm going to wait for the prices to crater. And what's scary is I'm hearing that from realtors I'm training. Realtors are saying, is this 2008 again? It is absolutely not 2008 again. So here's how you explain it to a buyer when they bring this to you. Say this, hey, there's a massive difference between our market today and 2008. Back then we had 11 months of inventory and a massive amount of sellers who are delinquent on their mortgage because of subprime loans. Today we have less than 3 months of inventory. We actually would prefer 6 months. We'd rather have more than we have now. And only about 4% of U.S. mortgages have any level of delinquency at all. That's down from 10% in the Great Recession. So what this is this is a market that's normalizing. By the way, hit that word. It's a market that's normalizing when we're moving from a frenzy market to more of a normal and healthy, stable market. The one thing that is changing, though, is interest rates, and that can affect a sale over the long term. So let's talk about interest rates, and now you're going to enter in the conversation a little bit about interest rates. Here's 2 quick graphs that can back up those numbers, by the way. Here's months of inventory leading up to the Great Recession. You can see 11 months of inventory there, and here's where we're at today. Low inventory rate. So it's supply and demand. We're still in a very strong market. We're still going to sell about 5 million homes this year. Things are good. We just got to have the right attitude and come to buyers and sellers with good information and good language. So if you like what you're hearing and you want to dive into more of this kind of conversation, check out our fast start kits that we have at eRealEstateCoach. They're free. They can get you off and rolling. And then dive into the mastery courses that we have that are really a deep dive into that recipe of success that you're looking for. We'll see you again next time at eRealEstateCoach.com.